on the line. Knights, as much as they could make a late run for the major, it is still possible, thinking about who they verse in the final Playday. They have to win this game if they want any chance whatsoever. I think it's like a 26% chance. But Game and Gladiator is just equally in kind of a point of turmoil. You know, they've got 3 games left, and if they don't manage to secure at least 3 points here, well, questions will be asked.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, GG are currently in 4th, and only top 2 go to the major. It's currently Direwolves and Fury who are in line for that. Knights down in 6th, but GG are the ones that have that extra expectation on them, right? Because they made it to the Berlin major, because they had a pretty decent performance there for their debut major. On top of that, if you remember, final Playday of Stage 2, it was GG or Knights. It was going to be one of them going to the Berlin Major, and it all came down to that game where they played against each other. We've got that rematch right here. GG got the better of Knights in that game in such a frustrating moment for Knights. They lost a 3 versus 1 thanks to a frost mat and the capitulation that came out about it. But GG, I mean, they have it right in front of them. They just got to take it.
Well, that's just it. You know, it's up for grabs, and GG have proven before that they can get there. And really, I think I'd love to see them back there again. But a team that I'm still just on all of the copium that I could ever be is the Knights, the OS team that has the only chance, regardless of how small it is, to still make it to the major. The team that we had dubbed to be really the saviors of OS have not performed up to standard. They are technically 2-2 right now from their matches, Mandy, but they've got to do a hell of a lot better if they want to make any kind of ruckus toward the late part of this stage.
They absolutely do. Now, with Elevate losing another matchup today, this does make the midfield a little bit closer, so Knights still do have a shoe-in, especially, I believe, if they get a regulation win here. They're still within that 25% chance, I believe, from the earlier graphic of making it into the major. So this is definitely a do-or-die moment here for the Knights. And for the side of the Gaming Gladiators, their run has been made a little bit easier as well with that Elevate loss. And it's just about trying to solidify that consistency. And it's so hard to do in this league.
It's not easy, that's for damn sure. Everything is up for grabs, but it's very hard to take it. So let's have a look at what the map veto looks like for this one. It will determine maybe a lot. I don't know, Dev. I'm kind of, now that we're getting to the latter part of the stage, I feel like I'm not so much leaning toward any team for a particular map. Ooh. What? Hang on. Is this the map that we've seen Knights go to on multiple occasions and get slapped around?
That was back in the day, Rob. If you want to refresh in your memory, these guys have actually been pretty good on the map. In Stage 2,
really?
They took out Direwolves 7-5 on this map. They also took out Wildcard 7-2. So, look, Knights historically have actually been pretty good on border. They kind of mastered that really aggressive way to play. That said, you know, that was back in the day. It's been a hot minute. It's been, what, 2 months now since they've played that map. In contrast, Gladiators are actually undefeated on this map. However, they have exclusively played it in their Nationals League. They've never actually played it at an APAC South level. Ooh. I'm keen for this. I think both teams are good at this, but neither team has played it recently. So I think this will be a real fresh and chaotic match to really settle the grudge between these teams after Stage 2.
Could we see the key that is Speakeasy unlock the potential for the Knights on board, Mandy? Is this something that we're hoping for? Is this something that is a possibility?
It could be. It would be very exciting to see Speakeasy show up. I feel like Speakeasy has kind of struggled a little bit in this roster to really be that superstar that we thought he was going to be. He's been performing well, it's consistent, but not amazing. And I think that on border, I'm pretty excited because every time we watch Knights play border, they have a very innovative type of border. They always bring along something that we don't really see before. Their strats are kind of hard to read into, especially if you're in the server and you're trying to attack into it. And I think that if Speakeasy can settle into, and yeah, for sure, I think they'll come away with it.
Well, both teams in desperate need for 3 points. Knights hoping to keep their chances alive, but GG looking to send themselves back for yet another major. We go to your wonderful duo casters in Xenox and Guts.
48% to 52% at the moment, Guz, in the Twitch chat poll pretty much does give us a clear indication this is 50-50, and there's so much on the line, so much at stake, especially considering Elevate's loss earlier this evening. The Knights suddenly look alive, and obviously for the Game of Gladiators, there's a clear pathway for them to get to the major.
Yeah, this is such a huge game. Big expectation on it being a closely fought battle, and of course both teams really duking it out for a spot at the major. GG clearly in a better position in terms of the standings at the moment, but this game could turn things on its head, and it's up to the Knights to perform an upset.
Well, let's get underway. Our final game of the Super Week, our final game for this week of APAC South, Playday 5. Of course, then 2 more Playdays to follow after this week. And for the Knights Skulls, they actually have next week off, I should say. And then, of course, they'll have the final game of the stage against the Direwolves. So must win this game if they want that match to have a whole lot riding on it. They must take down the game and Gladiators. And well, if obviously the Gladiators can get up here, it will put them into 2nd place at the end of Playday 5, going into the last 2 Playdays. And they do play in those last 2 Playdays. They play Tide and then they play Elevate. As we get the bands on the way, Lion and Flores taken off the board.
Followed up by Valkyrie, expected in this current meta. Lion and Flores, pretty self-explanatory. Lion can be quite powerful on this map. Roaming is already difficult enough as it is. You throw a Lion in the mix and it can be next to impossible if played right. And Flores can deal with quite a bit of the util setups, especially that the Knights tend to bring on this map. Mandy mentioned it on the desk. Can definitely have some creative setups, and Flores can be a thorn in that side. But Game of Gladiators is clearly confident in their ability to deal with it nonetheless. And then Mirror to close things out on a map like Border. Very versatile and not something that the Knights want to deal with.
First time we're going to be seeing Border this stage for APAC South. That means there's only 2 maps that have not been played. One of them's Theme Park. Can you guess the other, Gus?
That has not been played.
That has not been played.
I kind of want to say Clubhouse for some
It
reason.
is. It is.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Can you believe that, though? For
No.
what? It's a map that has been such a staple throughout, really, the last 2 years especially. It's, yeah, has not been played. And, yeah, Border was, of course, the other one, and now is going to be played for the first time this stage. We get underway. The wonderful Spabruni probability graphic here. Regulation win for the Knights does keep them in with a decent chance, and obviously means quite a lot for the game in Gladiators. It wouldn't be all doom and gloom. They do still play 2 more games after this if GG do lose this, but it would put a big dent in their chances of top 2.
And of course, if you're a Fury or an Elevate fan, you'll be hoping that the Knights get this win. Of course, it is only a 1-point difference between GG and the Knights heading into this Playday, and you might not think that's the biggest differences, but the confirmation there of the graphic shows that it actually is a significant change in those numbers, and Fury and Elevate will want Game and Gladiators to be kept at bay, if at all possible.
So, Knights on the defense here first on Border. Of course, Rob first touched on what was once a difficult map for them, and really that difficulty came down to just one time we saw it at a time where they hadn't really played it a whole lot. Since then, of course, now a 3-1 record on Border for the Knights, and has actually turned it into somewhat of a fortress even for them, really. And a big reason for that is their East Stairs hold. You even did a video on that one, Gus, so I'm giving you a little shout out on that. Unfortunately, since you put out those videos on the Knights, they have not quite had the stage that many would have been hoping for, but it's a big factor here on this particular map.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how that setup is dealt with. If and when the Knights decide to bring it out. Doesn't look like it's going to be a main component of the first round, though. The Pulse will be. Great operator in being able to locate these players that will cause issues for Speak Easy eventually inside of security. And the nature of Border means that a lot of the map is destructible. So Nitros will be in play as well if required. Game of Gladiators will do their best to try and counter that. At the moment, just scouting out this area to see if they could try and find this pick. Clearing Speak Easy with keeper barriers in assistance will probably be quite tricky. So we'll see how they go about dealing with this. Again, they banned out the Flores, so no real excuses if their util clear isn't great.
Big Easy hasn't had really the time he would have liked here on Knights so far. Maybe this could be his breakthrough game as he actually pushes through break room at the moment. Couldn't quite find that opening kill. Tolji taken very, very low, but so is Speak Easy, and really does need to sort of reposition a little bit here, and has been able to do so. Avoids the nade too, and it's Stiggs that finds that opening kill. So good start there for the Knights, but traded back is going to be Hobbin with the nade on to Speak Easy, who was, of course, extremely low. Just under a minute left, but it's a start.
And that's been one of Stig's big strengths so far in this stage, is playing off his team well and being able to aid them in particular situations. He does so on this occasion, but unfortunately, his team, they are falling. 4 versus 3. Just over 30 seconds remain. Josh is trying to feed more information to the remaining 2 players on site, but he's not finding too much. Might find something with a Nitro. Probably spotted the 2 players there over towards security, but he does not net a kill, and will need to make his way back towards site to aid Stigs and to aid Juicy, who are being locked down.
Time a factor. The GG have the numbers here, but they're low health players too, and told you at APAC. They'll go down quickly. Stiggs, though, has position, and he has got an unknown position at that as well. 3 for the round. Probably the round over for the Gaming Gladiators. It's the Knights that will take the opening round here on Border.
How has he gotten away with that position inside of Fountain? The timing was almost a disaster, but probably actually helped him net that multi-kill. Sloppy there from GG, not droning, not checking their corners. Knights will be able to get away with that round. Probably should not have been there, as it wasn't the greatest of starts, but a good recovery nonetheless. Here's the replay. Stiggs, prone inside, went to stand up, saw the Ana, was then able to hit the clean 2K elsewhere. Told you fell to Josh, and then Juicy with an easy mop up to confirm that round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Good signs for the Knights, though, obviously, to take into account the positioning of Speakeasy at the start of the round in break. Going for aggressive plays like that, you do like to see that. When I don't want to keep harping on Elevate earlier this evening, but they were quite stagnant, a little bit stalled out on the defense, especially not looking to be too aggressive. I think, especially on a map like Border, the whole idea is really you do want to be aggressive on the defense, make it hard to enter these positions. Obviously touched on east stairs before, but the same can be said for areas like break and security as well. So if the Knights are going to play into their shells, it's not going to do well for them. But if they can be aggressive and find a bit of form here in this game and put the pressure onto Gaming Gladiators on a map that obviously the Knights have been successful on, it could be a chance for them to keep their major spot alive.
What's the response now from GG? A small error costly in the first round. They'll be looking to just tidy that up a little bit going forth. They have the tools available to find information, namely that Yana. Still with 2 grenades, such a good operator. Here's that east stairs hold that we mentioned earlier. Trademark for the Knights, and in fact a couple of teams using that philosophy. Oh, good pre-fire through the passport. Some information being fed, maybe from Josh. Nets a bit of damage, but no kill. Knights looking to contest every single entry here on Border. That's the way the map should be played. Try to bleed time for as long as possible and try to frustrate GG into a mistake.
Here's that stairs hold. Nitrocell, not all that bad in the end, but doesn't quite find the mark. 3 Nitrocells on the side of Knights this round in particular. 1 thrown, 1 placed, and 1 still in the back pocket for Juicy. That's APAC there that finds the opening kill onto Stiggs. This is such a big position for Sage to hold, and he does get 1, expects the second to follow through onto Holvin. They've just walked straight into him, Guz, and have honestly made his life a little bit easier. Finally, through the sheer weight of numbers, they do displace him. Speakeasy's got to find that kill. Just allows that player to survive in Rex, I believe, and that could have been a big kill there for the Knights. He does get rid of the X-Gyros, I believe it was, but minute 12 seconds, 3 versus 3, drops down, and Gaming Gladiators still have good position above.
Shaky moments from both teams. It evens out 3 apiece. Minute to go in the round, so GG perhaps with a small advantage, especially if they can convert some of this control up above, maybe even into a kill to aid the push in towards site. We'll have to see what their approach is. Keep in mind it's workshop defense, so GG may have to shape up through lobby. That's probably their best bet up above on the east. Time bleeding though. Lurkers still around. It was costly in the first round, and Speakeasy in prime position to make a play.
Oh, the timing. Shoots him in the back. Joe falls. And then the drop down as well. Speakeasy has the timing go his way this round, and told you all by himself in archives. Knights off to the dream start. in a must-win matchup. And already tactical timeout has been called by APAC on the back of losing this second round in a row. There's something that they don't like. They've seen enough, and they want to have a chat. 2 rounds to the Knights to start here on Border.
This might be the earliest tactical we have ever seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is quite literally...
Yeah, no, mate, come on. We
had
literally just had one earlier today.
earlier than round 2.
It was at the end of round 2, which
Well,
is the
equal.
Come on, mate.
It's still the earliest tactical we've ever had, equal to the other earliest tactical timeout we've ever had. Come on, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, this was the most puzzling part of the round, though. Double pushing East Stairs, but what's with the vault?
I mean, I don't know what's going on with GG there. They knew Sage was there for the entire round. They had the Nitro earlier to 100% confirm there was a player on that position. They should have done their homework and know that the Knights are going to play that position. Yet they run in blind, the spacing's bad, they feed a 2k. So that's 2 rounds in a row where they've made a blatant mistake and allowed a player from the Knights to get, I wouldn't say an absolute freebie, but close to it. And that's credit to the positioning and the comms from the Knights. It's been pretty good. But yeah, GG, some fatal flaws. Good time to take a tactical, talk it through, relax, reset, and come back a fresher team, because mistakes like that are not a team, or pardon me, a team that makes mistakes like that is not worthy of a major spot. And GG are playing for basically their spot at the moment. If they lose it here, their chances drop dramatically, and the Knights, well, theirs will increase.
Well, the Knights will go to second place at the conclusion of Playday 5. And Elevate will be in second last place at the conclusion of Playday 5. I don't think either of us expected that kind of result. Of course, there's still a lot to sort of transpire at the conclusion of this game. And obviously that means the same for Game of Gladiators. They win this game and they go to second place. It should be said, though, of course, Knights, they have their bye break in Playday 6. And Wildcard have theirs in Playday 7. Also means that for Direwolves now, basically one more win should get them through to the major. And they play Elevate next week in Playday 6. So a lot happening here in APAC South. Once again, though, that East Stairs hold is going to be a factor here in this third round. And I think Game of Gladiators have got to be a little bit better in clearing this out.
Josh again down below with the pulse. He'll be offering vital information once more over towards security, aiding the player in that box position. Tricky to tell who that is through the outline, but I'm sure we'll be watching them closely soon. So it is Speakeasy again. He's not on the Azami this time. That role's been switched over to Sage. He was the one posted up the East Stairs. And that's probably not the worst of calls, considering GG. Well, last time they didn't even try to clear it with any util, so we don't really have a read as to how good their clear is going to be. Meanwhile, Arpe has been taken low. Huge chunk of damage, so he'll be susceptible to that impact from Sage. Double Nitro lineup as well. Not ideal for your Vert player.
Yeah, a bit of pressure down below here. Although, back up above, it was Speakeasy, and he gets 2. 2 for nothing. That is a calamity here for the Game of Gladiators off the back of their tactical timeout. It's, once again, just disarray here on Border. I mean, they honestly can't even get out of the balcony.
Minute 30. It's been a calamity for GG so far. On the hunt for their second appearance at a major this year. Not playing like themselves at the moment. The Knights, it's been a rough start for them, but they are stepping it up. Big run home. Could be a flawless round.
It is.
It is a flawless round. 3 straight.
Yeah, and I think coming into this matchup, everyone probably expected this to be close, to be back and forth. Obviously, there's a long, long way to go. Does this end up being a defender-sided Border? Is that the case? Is that what's sort of on the cards here? But it's a rough start from the Game of Gladiators. They've not really been able to throw any kind of punch. No pressure on the Knights. Struggling on the balcony. Can't find any entries. Full credit goes to the Knights. I think a lot of their positioning has been really good. Clean, critical kills early on in these rounds. They just look switched on. Almost like the Knights in the past, you know. We've seen this team play at their best, you know, especially at the back end of last year, guys, and we know what this team is capable of. Have they been able to reach those levels? Not quite this year. But kind of like what we had with OJ in the interview earlier for Wildcard, sometimes the very best of these teams is still really good. And if you just bring it on that night and it all just clicks, it can be tough to take down, and the Gladiators just need to find a way through this. They've already had their tactical timeout. They can't hold momentum from here. 3 rounds to find something, otherwise Knights could be well on the way to a top 2 position with 2 play days to go.
Yeah, and as you sort of brought up before, the reason that we're not getting super crazy excited right now, wow, the Knights are demolishing GG, it could be a super defender-sided map. Border can be so difficult to just enter into the map in the modern meta. We're seeing it at the moment. These really awkward, difficult chokes to get through, like Break Door, for example, top east stairs. GG obviously aren't playing it optimally, but they're highlighting just how difficult this map is at a pro level. And the Knights are exploiting the map as you would on the defense. So even if GG only get 1 or 2 rounds, it's certainly not over. So we just have to hold our breath at the moment. Let's see how this half in its entirety does play out and see if GG can scrap together a couple of rounds. But that starts with them scrapping together some map control. It's been their biggest issue so far. They're simply just not getting into the map with the man count to do anything meaningful. So we'll see how their approach fares this time. Big stack over towards detention. And maybe they'll try to overwhelm this position. Josh taken low. But fortunately, able to escape. The Nitro on exit doesn't land.
Oh! Nice little position there found by Joe to get Josh, but as that happened, elsewhere on the map, there's a trade anyway, so APAC loses his life. Struggling a little bit here, APAC, in fact. 1 of 4 now. Not really able to find any kind of consistency. And I think one issue here for the game of Gladiators is just their lack of entry. You look at some of their numbers. They only have 1 player on the roster that has a positive entry stat. And on a map like Border, where it's so much pressure on those balcony positions, trying to funnel through these doorways that are being largely checked, if you haven't got guys on the team that can push through and find kills, you're going to have a really tough time. And that's where the Knights are finding success right now.
Gladiators looking for more control. Sage shut down outside. That's a great pick, and Speak Easy trickled low. Could this be the first round that GG are able to claim? It's looking likely at this point, but still a lot to play out. Stigs is the danger man in this round, the Oryx. Able to maneuver around, be unpredictable. Maybe go for a flank. Now, Nomad's on the board, but the question will be where it's told you actually place that flank watch. If it's not here up above, if it's not on this balcony, he could be on for the flank of the map.
Gotta go though, 35 seconds. Oh, and he's been spotted by Joe, who's now on for an ace, and that could be the round. Unless Speakeasy and Juicy can find a way to clutch up big. It is getting late round. Time is starting to run out. What can he find up close? There's one, expecting more. The reposition, it's good. Gets the down. It's only Hoffman that's left now in a 1 versus 1. Again, Speakeasy, low on health, but he's got the position. He's got the ping. Is he looking in the right direction, though? Maybe the timing might just cost him. He spotted him. Oh, by the barest of margins through a crack in that panel. Spots his head. And it's the Knights once again that take the round, even from a 4-2 position. They make it 4 rounds in a row.
And as Dev made mention to us earlier, funnily enough, Juicy and Speakeasy actually the only 2 players on the team that aren't in a top 5 category on Siege GG. But we know the clutch factor that these 2 have historically. Speakeasy with countless huge plays, and Juicy the anchor on site, showing his worth as well. The Wardens providing so much value there in that situation. Able to negate those flashes. Quick peek for 1, the reposition for the 2nd, and then Speakeasy just so cool, calm, and collected. Played off that information. And a round that could have and probably should have been the way of GG, not converted.
I know it's early days, guys. Still a second half to play out.
Hey,
but
you just gotta wait. If GG get 1 round, then maybe I'm getting confident for the Knights. But this map, I'm telling you, it's a different beast.
yeah,
I'm not saying anything until it's over.
there is a Mr. Manic Monday, though, that's on for 3 from 3 in terms of his predictions. I might just take top spot. Don't know if I like that one, but Let's see what happens as we close out this one. Another drone gets taken out. That's been a nightmare scenario for a couple teams tonight. One Elevate, now one Gaming Gladiators. Of course, the Knights, though, firmly a 50-50 matchup this, but it's not playing out like a 50-50 matchup at the moment. Very largely one-sided. That last round was a bit better from the Gladiators, but yeah, really fluffed their chances of finding their opening round. It's good to see Speakeasy playing well, though. It's been a rough stage for him on a personal level, and clearly finding some success here on Border.
Certainly a redemption arc on this map. I still remember that Elevate game where they got smacked, but they've clearly turned things around and look much improved. Hoven now on the Nook, sneaking forward for an entry. Smart play. The mute jammers, though, making it difficult. I don't think Hoven really had a great read there. There was a jammer on the door. Stiggs collects it and falls off. At the very least, though, it's control for GG. Something they've lacked so far. What needs to follow, though, is pressure. It's all well and good to have boots on the ground, up above, getting to work, but it needs to be some meaningful pressure in towards site. And you can see just the spread on the Knights. Very few players are even on the site itself. It's a horizontal sweep from the defense. And GG will need to try and clear these players, 3 of which, as you can see, completely detached from the objective itself.
It's Hape. Okay, that's one. But they had the advantage in the last round as well. And they let it slip. They do get a big player in Stiggs, though, who has been performing quite well so far in this match. 50 seconds left. There's the second one. And they get arguably the MVP of the game so far in Speakeasy. Now it really feels like a reality. The Gaming Gladiators to fight in the opening round here for themselves, and it continues to look like it will be in that fashion. But now 4 versus 2. One down, one now gone. Sage with some big-time plays. Josh sitting inside of Customs, couldn't quite fight in that next kill. Still a chance, though, for the Gaming Gladiators to maybe balls this one up from a 5 versus 2. Down to 3 versus 2 with under 20 seconds left. Hoven with the diffuser in hand, down to half out. Spotted again by Josh. Should be able to get down here. Couldn't quite, did actually, but Tolji got the elimination onto Josh. Tolji planting, but it's Joe that gets the headshot onto Sage. Okay, sigh of relief for GG. They needed that one.
It was a nervous finish, but able to confirm it. Clutch ability for the Knights. Flourishing once more, but not quite enough on that occasion. They get around, something to attach to, and now perhaps a second, which would be a pretty fantastic result considering the start and the dominant fashion in which the Knights have been able to lock out their defensive efforts. Still, though, it just feels scary. It doesn't feel particularly confident from GG. It's really not over until it's over, and sure, the Knights will still be feeling quite confident on this last round that they can get a 5-1 lead and give themselves a cushion, and more importantly, only be a single round away from, at minimum, OT.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the earlier conversation we had about needing to see that second half. If this goes 2-4, does this end up being a defender-sided border where 4-2 is almost par for the course, and can the Gaming Gladiators then apply the same kind of pressure on the defense to the attacking Knights, and could potentially have an OT written all over it. Remember, the last time these two teams played was that massive Playday 7 matchup where it went to 8-7. The Knights needed to win in regulation to make the major. Of course, GG just had to send it to overtime, and well, we know what ended up happening in that story. But that's how close, really, when you think back to how close the Knights were to making the major not that long ago, and you win this game, and once again, they will be close to making the major. I think in some ways, many almost counted them out really early for this stage. Okay, a little bit down the bottom, slow start, but they just seem like they're starting to really find their feet.
Yeah, and what's had to go their way for it to happen has. I mean, Elevate losing earlier tonight, I'm sure will aid them. They get 3 points on their own volition here, then maybe some of our comments, probably mainly my comments earlier on the stage, could look a little bit silly if they end up making the top 2, but I'll have to wait and see. Only a couple of play days to go, but that road still feels long and windy as it always is here in APAC South.
Many twists and turns.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. 2 minutes to go though, so still a lot of time for GG to formulate a plan. Drone in through security. Once more, it's Josh playing this position. It's been his sanctuary. This map, Juicy though, falls. Josh doesn't tap that in response, but Hoven will.
Yeah. And it's Ape. Ape's finding these opening picks now. He's providing that entry. I mentioned, obviously, the sort of first 4 rounds, this is what they lacked, and he's just been able to really stand up and deliver. Hoven's usually the one that's going to be able to do it for them, but in this case, Ape finding it within himself to get these opening picks, allow them to push through. Only 1 drone left, by the way. So decent drone defense by the Knights, but of course they've lost a couple of players for it. Minute and 8 seconds left. Interesting position here from Sage inside of towers. Does he find someone? No, it's Ape again. 5 kills now for Ape, who's really standing to the cause. Can the Gladiators finish off and get the second round? Ape again! Rix will plant. Speak easy now in a 1 versus 3. The Nitrosol doesn't quite reach the target, the intended target in Joe. Well, Joe actually down the hallway is the one that finds the kill, but still, big win there for GG, guys. 4-2 half. Let's see what this second half has for us before we start really feeling like who's going to take this one home.
Yeah, and a match that really started to feel like it was getting a little bit stale has now really been brought to life by GG. Perhaps not straight away off the back of that tactical, but eventually able to write their course. 2 rounds is a very good effort considering the start, and again, keeping in mind just the way in which this map is played in the modern meta. In competitive, it is absolute hell on earth sometimes to try and get in the map and get your teeth in and actually find picks and find control. So let's see now, can GG bring that same relentless pressure and accuracy that we saw from the Knights at the start of that first half? If so, OT might be on the cards. Perhaps even GG could flip it around to a regulation win.
Would be heartbreaking for the Knights fans after a 4-0 start. A little bit of hopium going their way, but to then be taken away from them, devastating. A win here for the Game of Gladiators really sets them up, though, to make the major. They play Tide next week, and then they play Elevate and Playday 7. You win here, you win against Tide, and that actually might just be enough, those 2 results, regardless of what even happens against Elevate. But you lose this, and on the flip side, then you basically then have to beat Elevate and hope other results go your way. So they wouldn't be out of it, but boy, they would be in a bit of a hole they would have to climb out of. 2-4 the current scoreline. How can the Knights find entry here? Can they do so seamlessly? That's surely an opening kill for Styx. That's all too easy. The best player in the region for entries, by the way, right there on display. Gets the headshot onto Joe. And with that kill, puts him at +10 on the entry.
And as GG, you cannot be giving away free picks like that. Like we keep reiterating, Border can and should be a map where getting that just first initial pick can be so challenging and so difficult if played well. Styx peeks through the window and finds a kill. Credit to him, he's obviously very strong on the entry and the stats reflect that, but cannot continue. The Knights now have an advantage. Still a lot of work to do, but couldn't ask for a much better start than that. Joe's been pretty hot as well, 5 kills. Speak Easy now feels confident for an entry over towards office. Oh my god, what is that timing?
What? But he actually saw him as well. Maybe he was just so unaware that he had a player standing right in front of me. That was just bizarre. All right, well, a freebie goes the way of the Gladiators. 4 versus 4, and suddenly Speak Easy just being shut down a little bit in the last couple of rounds. Has just freed things up for the Gladiators. 90 seconds left in the round. Styx has now made his way over to East Stairs, having to deal with these keeper barriers of Hoven. The strong position to be held, but at the very least for the Knights, Styx in a good position here. And even kind of using those keeper barriers to his own advantage. And being able to play this position, now pushing out, seeing if we can find a pick.
So goes down. There's
He's got a ping.
This could be big. Hard to tell who that is on the roam, but if Styx can find the kill, it opens up the staircase. It opens up the round for the Knights.
They have to find this kill. They have to do it quickly, and they do. Good information, good intel gathered by the Knights and then seized upon as well. Gives them the advantage, 4 versus 3, but they did have to drop down for that kill. Styx dying to Rix, though. That was not in the equation. Josh, top main stairs, position being held. Can he push through? No, not quite. Rix again. 2 massive kills on the defense here for the Gladiators. Juicy's got to get going. He's got to get moving. Has to get involved now with 30 seconds left.
And he needs to win this fight. Certainly so now in the 1 versus 2. No trade ability available, and he needs to find the player at half wall who can sit back and wait. The teammate on the
Rix.
cross, and it's Rix with the Nitro. A big round from him and a big round from GG.
Yeah, I mean, that was the Rix defensive wall right there. 3 huge kills at separate times. And we've got a game for the final game of the night. It's 3-4. Gladiators making their comeback known. 3 rounds in a row. They have already taken their tactical timeout earlier on in the first half. I do wonder if the Knights lose this next round, surely a TT from them will be soon coming.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Such a close round for the Knights. They got that opening pick from Stigs and then Speakeasy. Some super unfortunate timing. He wins that 5v3. They would have won the round, but unfortunately he didn't. Even still from that position, potentially recoverable, but credit has to go to Rix where credit's due.
Attackers have discovered the
Huge round
location
from
of a
him.
bomb.
Few kills that were critically important and really well executed. Able to close out the round as well. Move on to round 8 then. Over towards Workshop. I see a Frost in
10
play.
seconds left before
That's...
insertion.
Do we want to talk about...
The Knights and Frost?
5 seconds
Is it
remaining.
too soon?
I think it's too soon.
Okay, we won't talk about it.
At least it's not Chalet.
Attackers' objective is to defuse
That
the
was
bomb.
uncalled for.
We'll see if they can navigate their way past those Pogbats in this particular round. Into the 8th round now we go. 3-4 the scoreline. Gladiators now having won the last 3 in a row. Making this one interesting. For what is always a very interesting league. This is where the Knights just cannot succumb to this though. They need that counter punch. You get this next round, 3-5, suddenly it's a little bit better. You edge closer to at least an OT position at minimum. Stiggs makes his way into security. Plus 10 on the entry. Best player in the league finding these entry kills. So heavy reliance on him being able to continue that here, especially on border.
And you look at the Knights, to be one of few teams in the region where under this sort of pressure, they typically won't falter. Continue with consistency. Perhaps though that has not been the case at stage 3. An opportunity now though to show us they've still got it. Some control over towards security. Pressure though from Game and Gladiators now inside of the next point of contention up above. That small office position with the hatch open. Knight's not really able to get an angle on it. Not much pressure being felt immediately by the defense at the moment. The Knights still eager to get some more information with the 3 drones they have remaining, but there's an opening at front door and Juicy walks straight into sight. He hits a goo mine, but he might look to stick it here.
Yeah, I mean, goo mine's one thing, Frostmat's another, so you'll take that. You get a bit of intel if you are the Gladiators, but how much really goes prone off of the plant being placed down. Hoven finding the kill onto Juicy straight away. Does this backfire? Yeah, for the Knights. Quick plant, but maybe it could be a quick defuse. Stakes though, big kill. Massive. Now they're going to go hunting from APAC. Actually wanted to go for the counter defuse. He gets shut down by Sage, and that puts a lot of pressure onto Hoven. He knows full well that he can't just stick that straight away. He's got to find who's in that position of watching it. Next in line is Rix, and he falls too. 1 by 1 they fall. Flawless in the end from the Knights. Once they got that plant down, they were well set up to defend it. You just have to wonder, though, how the Gladiators allowed that to happen. 1 goo mine is all they had protecting that.
Smart siege there from the Knights, and that's the kind of siege that we enjoy watching from this team. Juicy finds an opening, he makes the call. They had the post-plant positions well drilled. No chance Gaming Gladiators without hitting some absolutely insane shots of going to be able to retake that. Really well played. They completely
Locate and defuse bombs.
ignore. They don't need to contest those positions elsewhere on the map. They go for the tried and true direct hit towards side. It works out well. And that's going to be quite a demoralizing round, I think, for GG.
Yeah.
I'm sure those that play ranked may be able to sympathize, right? Obviously, it's a whole different ball game, but letting a team just walk into site, getting a plant down, and getting smoked in the post plant never feels good. So it's up to GG to pick themselves up. They don't have the tactical to do it. So now's the time during this prep phase where they need to have a hard, serious talk about how they're going to deal with that going forward, and quickly then putting it to the backs of their mind, not letting it plague them going forward, because the Knights now teetering so close towards that match point due to the pressure they applied earlier on in that first round.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
It's always that sort of mini match point under the 3-2 point mindset. Obviously, if the Knights get this next round, they go to match point. It means the Gladiators cannot get 3 from this matchup. And we've seen in this league alone what 1 or 2 points can be the difference in qualifying for a major position.
Oh.
Stig's close to finding that opening kill, even had the yellow ping, but wasn't able to find it. The Gladiators get a reprieve there momentarily. They need, honestly, something to just go their way, and they'll get it.
As we've seen so far throughout this match, the next 30 to 60 seconds is where that pace is going to really slow down. Both teams will want to be super slow and methodical and not give away that cheap early pick that has plagued both teams so far in this game. Knights only with 5 drones remaining. Those have actually been dealt with quite well by GG throughout the match, but I think the Knights have done a good job in getting that information quickly and then acting upon it. On the topic of information though, Hoven has a read on Josh. We'll drop him with the Nitro.
Yeah, and gets rid of the sledge as well. Soft breach denial with that nitro cell from Holven. But Speakeasy responds. Not a surprise, we've been seeing a lot of these rounds go back and forth. 90 seconds left, looking down east stairs and gets rid of the default. Now can push down here. Finding that kill really does just allow so much position control. Being able to push down. Is there going to be a response by the Gladiators? At the moment, it just kind of feels like the Knights are just setting up here for what's going to be that eventual attack. Minute and 5 seconds left.
See just how cautious still both teams are being. But Joe now, pinched. Stig sees the barrel. Can't net the kill immediately, but it's been easy for the trade. The impact now comes through from down below, but Stig's too good. Wins the fight onto Tolji and gives the Knights something to work with. 40 seconds remain, they have the advantage.
There's not much time though, with only 40 seconds left. So even though it's a 2 versus 3, oh, never mind, Speakeasy. Welcome back to APAC South. It's been a rough stage for him so far. But this is the Speakeasy that we know and love. Up to 11 now and leading from the front for the Knights. Holven, the last one left. The only thing he can play for is time, but the Don says no. It's match point for the Knights here on Border. Moments away now from 3 points against the Gladiators. 1 round away from second place and a major position.
You mentioned earlier that could this be the breakout game for Speakeasy on this roster? A player who over the last several years has contested the spot for the best player in APAC. And so far, it has to be said, this has probably been that breakout game so far. The Knights have stuck him on the right role. Get in there, get picks, contest that map control, back yourself in with the mechanical skill that we all know he has. And it's netted results, 11-4-5. Doesn't get too much better than that at this level. 3 match points now as well. Big.
Yeah, and in some ways, again, going back to that interview with OJ earlier, this is what some of these OCA teams are certainly capable of at their best, right? Like at their very best, and when they're really switched on and they're playing really good Siege on maps they feel comfortable on, they compete. They compete really well, compete honestly up to the best of them in the region. It's just about being able to do that in a consistent nature. That goes for Wildcard, that goes for the Knights, and to be honest, that goes for a lot of teams at the moment besides probably the Direwolves. The Direwolves really showing that consistency that no other team in this region has at the moment. We've seen Elevate have consistency in the past, but it's not there at present. But sometimes you just forget about consistency and take the wins when you can get them. And the Knights are moments away from getting a big 3-point. It's 3 points for them, but it also denies points away from GG, who will be stuck on 6 points, tied with Elevate for second last. In fact, it's just staggering to think about, guys, that the two teams from Stage 2 will be 5th and 6th with 2 play days to go.
And they both still could make the top 2.
Yes.
Right? It's insane.
Well, I don't think both of them would be able to, because
true.
obviously,
Yeah.
Direwolf's in first, so maybe one of them, but still, either or.
Crazy. Still, though, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I know I've said it probably a few times throughout this map, but anything can happen still on a border defense.
Of course, yeah.
Could be a long way to go in this matchup. OT is by no means out of the question. GG just need to tie a few rounds together. The thing that's going against them, though, 1, momentum, 2, Knights still have that tactical. So the moment they lose a round, they'll just call it, slow down the pace.
There's
And
a
that
yellow
pace
ping
has
on
been
that.
relentless.
They know.
Josh.
Oh, I think he second questioned it. He thought maybe he got away from that ping position.
That was awkward.
That was a little bit intriguing to watch. And yeah, they do finally finish off Josh. A bit scrappy.
And that's the second time now we've seen such an awkward player that offers double door. It was speaker easier early, but nonetheless, still a pick. Stigs now.
It's like an opposite of the one-way going and helping out the Knights here. What is that keeper barrier?
Yeah, very strange. 70
Minute
seconds.
12 though. I mean, time, I will say, the Knights on the attack haven't necessarily gone for ultra-fast rounds, but I feel like at the same time they've been playing the clock well. They don't go too late into the round. Just under a minute left, 4 versus 4. Gladiators must win from here on out the next 3 and send this one to overtime if they're to get anything from this game.
It's been such a cat and mouse game so far. You can really feel the pressure in this game. The cogs are turning for the IGLs on both rosters, and I think at the moment Juicy besting his opposition at the moment. He's made some great calls so far, and now 30 seconds away from potentially being able to close out this map. No ninja plant like the last attempt, of course. Timer too far gone for that. 20 seconds to formulate something here, try and get in towards sight, pressure out these defenders. It's ticking, and it's ticking quick.
Told you, big headshot, gets rid of Sage, but there's that trade, and it's been going this way basically for the Knights the entire night long. In red time, Juicy has to stick the plant, gets off of it, and then has to get back on it, and must stick it, and it will be almost denied by Outplay. Stigs has saved him! Saved the round until Rix finds his way through! I thought for a moment that Stigs had basically won it for the Knights, but Rix has slipped on by and just kept the Gladiators alive here. 4-6. They need 2 more rounds to send this one to overtime.
Oh, Rick's not going down without a fight. He's had a couple of big rounds now in the dying stages where he's been able to make plays happen. Awkward start there with Josh. Go to Stigs on that vert was so strong as Juicy tries to go for the plant. And the pressure from up above was really good still from Stigs. Able to get that down. But then, of course, Rick's able to deny. Stigs, I'm presuming, had to reload and or reposition. Could not find that player. Good spacing there from GG. The Knights do not call their tactical. They're going to ride it out to the very end.
I respect that, though. I do believe at the very least you can get through this next round without calling a tactical. There's nothing to suggest that they're looking to stop momentum or anything. You would probably want to save that for this next round after. If you do happen to lose this round, then you call it. But you got another round you can get through, I think, before you worry about that one. So 4-6. GG will be fighting tooth and nail to send this one to overtime. Every point matters. So much so, I'm going to mention a fact that I almost wanted to save for a potential Knights win, guys. But if the Knights win this, they need to get the 3 points. Why? Well, because they play Direwolves in Playday 7. And if the Direwolves lose to Elevate next week, and the Knights then beat Direwolves in regulation, they will both be on 11 points, but the head-to-head would go to the Knights. So, which would mean they're more likely to go to the major if they have the head-to-head to the team that's currently first on 11 points. So they need the 3 points. If they don't get the 3 points, if they end up with 2, they may just be 1 point short of going to the major.
Can they do it, though? Couple more chances. Round 11 at the moment.
A bomb has been located.
It's just stepping up now to another level, and these players will be looking to rise to that occasion. They've both been pretty similar positions throughout the year. GG, of course, more successful, and funnily enough, it was the previous stage against the Knights where they locked in. Their opportunity to get the major. The Knights still eager to return. Been a long time between drinks for them. We know they have the pedigree, but piecing it together week by week, that's been the issue. Stigs now, 10 and 5. Been great so far today once more. Hungry on the entry. We'll see if this nade lands. No one at 90, so it won't. Shield still stands.
90 seconds left. Oh, it's APAC again. I mean, how many times have we seen APAC find these opening kills? He has been that entry player for the Gladiators. And in this case, just gets that pick again onto Josh, who, despite the rest of his team, hasn't quite been able to get going in this match. Minute left. And it's starting to get a little bit tense now for the Knights here on the attack. They can't just sit, they have to create. But have they been stopped in their tracks here by a defensive Gladiators? Still good positions being held. It's Joe. Off position. Bind Sage. Is it crumbling here for the Knights, or can Speakeasy recapture that form? 40 seconds left. Stigs, top main stairs. Does he find an avenue? It's Speakeasy again. There's two. Maybe it's going to fall apart here for the Gladiators despite a successful start in this round. They need to close it out.
Stigs is looking to progress forward, but he's walking straight to a cross. Tense moments. Juicy needs to collect himself and go for the plant, but there's a player close, and that's Rix again.
15 seconds to go.
10 seconds left, 3 versus 2, but there's no more for the Knights. There is no 2. And surely in the chat, we see a tactical timeout get called. They need it so desperately. 5-6. Into the 12th round we go. They might just let all 3 points slip here on border. Surely, Guz. Yep, there we go. See that little cursor going to the cogwheels. Tactical timeout called by the Knights at the final hour.
Up to Lunar Metal now to rally the troops. He'll jump into the chat. An opportunity for the coach to talk to these players for the next 60 seconds. How are they going to win this round? It echoes the last stage where against GG they needed a regulation win, and now more than ever they need one once more. If not, they risk falling a potential point short of the top 2. They've looked good in this game so far. It's just about closing it out. Just about one player now making a play, finding an opening, giving their team the advantage. GG, though, have been formidable, not going down without a fight. And once more, credit to Rix. I mean,
Yeah.
it's at the point now where he's had countless impacts in this game, and the Knights struggling to shut him down.
I think Rix, when it comes to those late round plays on the defense, APAC in the early part of these rounds, getting those opening kills, right? So it's a combination of both. Team effort, really, from Game of Gladiators, especially when you look at their kills. 8-6, 8-8-6. Complete team orientation. And it's always what this team has been about since they entered APAC South. Such a massive round with the repercussions that will honestly send ripples through the through the league. Shocking many, I'm sure, Guz.
I said ripples last night, didn't I? Are you making fun of me?
The other night, 2 nights ago.
2 nights. Not very nice.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh boy, buckle in for what could be the final round of this game.
And defuse a bomb.
And potentially, if it goes the way of GG, the final meaningful round for the Knights this stage, as an OT win even might not be enough. See how it pans out. Over towards Tellers, the 12th round. Josh with nades in hand, clearing some util over towards Armory. Might see Stigs enter that position as he drones ahead. That's one thing as well that GG have done a pretty good job at so far in this match, is denying quite a bit of information. That drone count typically looking quite low, but of course on border you do sometimes need to sacrifice drones a little bit more than other maps, so don't want to overanalyze that too much. The important thing is that as an attacker on this map, once you get that information, you act upon it and you do it quickly. And at times the Knights have been doing that well. Let's see if the entries of Stigs and maybe Speakeasy can do it this time around.
Critical round. As I said before, Knights need all 3 points. Desperately need all 3 points. It puts them into a position where they can even tie with the Direwolves at the end of this stage. By beating them and getting their head-to-head, surely I think that might just be enough to send them to the major. So it just keeps that pathway alive. 2 points probably won't be enough. But APAC, it's been spoken about so many times, but he just keeps finding these open kills. The nade forces him down, doesn't get the kill, but clears out the position. Hoven with the Nitro cell from below gets rid of Josh, who just cannot seem to find his footing in this map, in this game. 5-4 again for the Gladiators. They have the advantage once more.
How do they crawl it back? The Knights, they need to find something back. Stigs on the vert's been really good in this game. Needs some openings, needs some angles, needs something to wrestle back the man advantage that Gaming Gladiators now have, but as hard as he tries, no one's exposing themselves. Stigs is desperate, but just nothing presents itself. Hoven is doing a great job in keeping himself safe. Now we look towards the likes of Juicy on that ace to make a game-winning play here. Needs to make the right call, get his players in the right positions for this plant. He might be able to drop, but no, there's pressure. Can he hit the shot? No, Joe's too sharp. Joe is too sharp, and there's a second. A 3 versus 1.
Down to Speakeasy in that 1 versus 3. Well, he can't do it. It's over before it even began. Told you. It's happened to the Knights once again. In a position to get all 3 points, they have succumbed to the pressure. The Gaming Gladiators, to their credit, to the utmost credit, fighting tooth and nail to send this one to overtime, to collect anything from this match. At the very least, they now walk away with 1 point secured. It's something, and it may just be a major point. Who knows when it's all said and done, but that is huge for the Gaming Gladiators. They looked almost down and out. They go to 7 points, and as it kind of stands on the standings, tied second. Can they get 1 more to put themselves firmly in second place? But for the Knights, girls, that should all but seal their fate. I don't see a world in which they make the major now.
Rough. And I know you love this term, but there's almost echoes of mutual destruction in this game, right? Because GG ideally needed 3. 2, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but they could still fall short. And for the Knights, well, even 2 for them as well is going to put them in an even worse position. So it's an awkward match. There's a world in which we see neither team at the major off the back of this result. But GG obviously will be second at least at the conclusion of the evening. Whether or not they hold on to that is another story that will play out over the course of the stage. Been a good match though. Both teams have given it their all. Been some really good plays, some really great calls. Both teams, some great counterplay at parts as well. Been hard fought. Definitely living up to expectations. And we'll see now who can close it out.
Can't help but feel a little bit deflated if you're a Knights fan for understanding what it means, but for Gaming Gladiators fans, it's huge. It is elation. Just getting that 1 point from looking down and out. You lose this game, you get nothing from it. And it's not exactly major position over. I think we saw the statistics would have dropped to about 21%. They definitely would have needed to win their last 2 games. But it really shows the resilience of this team and what they're capable of. And if they go on and now get the 2 points from this game, get second place, you can't help but feel how much they would be deserving of getting into that position. But still something to fight for. And if the Knights are to make it, maybe 2 points could be enough, potentially, as you said, if other avenues. So you've got to just keep fighting. You can't give up on it just because you allowed the 3 points to slip.
As for GG, maybe sets us up for a Gladiators vs Elevate Playday 7 brawl for the spot at the major. I think that's a possibility. That could be very interesting. Who knows though? far from the thoughts of anyone in the server at the moment. Both still battling for every point still available. Knights on the attack, but they are on the unfavored side in overtime, not the position you want to be. But they have had some good rounds. If they can piece together a couple here, it could be enough.
Minute and 10 seconds left. Josh just needs to stay alive. Honestly, that probably has to be the provocative for Josh, unfortunately. The nade's so close. The shot's just faltering him, but he stays alive. As I said, that's all he really needed to do. They do lose Juice. Super Sticks found that opening kill. So it's something by getting rid of Joe. Josh alive now inside a break with 50 seconds left. Can he have an impact late into the round here for the Knights on the attack? But just struggling to find any kind of avenue past this Gladiators defense, which has been standing so strong here on border. It played like it was Knights' map, but the Gladiators have, well, made themselves quite comfortable here. Ape, he's been on something. Wonderful shot. Josh finally does get involved. Late round, he gets 2, in fact. That's not bad. Now in a 3 versus 2, the Knights surely to get overtime match point from here. Surely they don't mess this one up.
Rix is still alive, though. He's been so impactful in the late round. He needs to be shut down. He's unleashed, though, on the boost. On the boost of all positions to net that kill. And Speakeasy now at the disadvantage. There's nothing he can do. GG, reverse the tail. They now have match point.
Ape has been monumental in this game. I mean, the Gladiators as a team have been so incredible. You almost have to sit back and wonder what was really going on inside of the first 9 rounds. A staggering turnaround. It was 6-3 in favor of the Knights, and they were firmly in control, guys. I mean, like, it seemed like they were just going to get the job done, get the 3 points. The tactical timeout as well from the Gladiators happened after the 2nd round. It's not like they had a reset deep into the 2nd half. So where has this come from? 4 rounds in a row to the Gladiators. The Knights have just stopped in their tracks. The defense from the Gladiators, impeccable. Ape's had some big moments. Joe, Hoven, Rix, especially Rix. You can't help but just be impressed by this team. And now on the verge of getting 2 points, which would put them into 2nd place and still having 2 games to play. That's something not even the Knights can say. The Knights are only playing 1 more game after this for the stage. I mean, GG is still to play Tide next week, a winless Tide. They would go to 11 points with that win going into the final game against Elevate.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Been a big performance. GG really amping it up when required. Can they close it out on the attack, though? Been a very challenging side to contest for both teams. Very difficult, as you would expect. And they got what it takes, though, to just get it across the line here instead of limping over on the 15th round. Drones go forward. 7 available. Hoven with an early duel over towards east stairs, trying to sneak in. Oh! Ape tried to sneak in. He's dead. He's been so good on the entry, and Josh locking down this customs position. He's been playing it the entire game, and he still is able to get out with his life. So he has a nitro, and he can feed information safely on site, or at least down below.
Clearly been a defender-sided border as well. So now Knights with the defensive position, they get the opening kill. Can't help but feel surely this could very well be on its way to a 15th round as a decider. But you're not going to count out the Gladiators off of just losing Ape. As he said, yes, he's been that player that's been able to entry and get those kills, but I feel like he started it all. When everyone else was a little bit flat, he got them all going. Now everyone's sort of primed. Rix, Hoven, both been fragging, Joe especially. And obviously, we see Josh very low on health, so he's very susceptible. 90 seconds left, and yeah, he falls straight away to the wallbang, but Joe falls to Sage. So a quick little trade does keep the Knights in an advantageous position. With a minute 16 remaining on the clock, told you half health, same with Hoven, so GG still in a volatile position here late into this 14th round.
They've only gotten a singular kill, but Josh, the MVP of this round so far, secured it, able to fall back, able to waste a lot of time and the resources of Gaming Gladiators, who now need to pick themselves up regroup, a man down, prepping for an east push. Office droned out, it's clear, so they can push forward, create a bit of a buffer in towards site. Fountain, though, contested, so they'll need a way to try and clear out the Oryx in Stigs, who has a deployable shield, and this, for the Knights, should be their win condition. Play off that shield and lock out their opponents.
30 seconds left in this round. Knights must win to send this to a 15th to give them any hopes of 2 points. I don't think 1 point will be enough. I think 1 point may see them out of a major position completely. Even if 2 points puts them in basically very little chance. It's a chance at least nonetheless. Stigs basically obscured by this smoke. 13 seconds left. Someone's sitting inside of it. They'll push out. They'll push straight into Stigs' sightlines. We're going to go to a 15th round. 2 big kills by Stigs at the end. The Knights do hold defensively, as both teams have been able to do so on border. Only 4 attacking round wins. 2 by the Knights, 2 by GG. We go to a 15th round, and it is the Gladiators on the defense. Can you believe it though, guys? The last time these two teams met, it was 8-7. Knights needed to win in regulation. They had regulation match point. They lost it. It went to overtime, and Gladiators held out and won 8-7. Well, maybe history very well may repeat itself once again.
May well do.
Protect your bombs from being defused by
There's no frost though in this round, so at least we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about the frost. That's nice. But still grave concerns for the Knights. Time and time again, it's been shown that attacking is incredibly challenging. Part of that to the map, but of course credit to both teams defending extremely well for the most part. Over to Tellers now for the final round in this game. Final opportunity for the Knights to salvage anything, and final opportunity really for GG to keep
10 seconds to insertion.
their second position fortified as well. Big round, what has been one of the bigger matches of the stage so far. Extension over towards Armory here for GG. Utility established, creating buffers across the map, barricades as well being used to try and zone out some of these positions. The Knights may read into that, try and set up over towards security and go across. And that is immediately what will be the case, I think, here for Stigs. Now, one thing as well that they need to be mindful of on the attack are the Nitros from below. They've actually been pretty good from Game Gladiators. Hovel, though, the only one pocketing one at the moment.
I might just add, by the way, quickly looking at the standings, guys, but if the Knights do win this round, we're going to have 4 teams tied on 7 points. All tied for second. It'll be Fury, Wildcard, GG, and Knights. Elevate will be second last on 6. And as we know, of course, Direwolves firmly out in front on 11 points and would be just 1 game away from solidifying a position at the major. So they are firmly in the box seat, and rightfully so. Well, here we go.
Oh,
Josh on the Amaru. And we'll send it straight into Armory, but there's no one to welcome him with open arms, which maybe is a pleasant surprise for Josh, maybe. Doesn't have to fight his way through. Beepers, top main stairs, still hasn't found anything, but technically finding nothing is still information nonetheless, and allows the rest of the team to push on through. 90 seconds left. Gladiators largely below. Hoven with the big nitro. He's hit a couple of these, and a lot of them have been on Josh. He throws this one out. There's 2 of them. Oh, Stigs. Juicy's down, but Speakeasy gets the trade onto Tolji elsewhere, and Juicy gets brought back up. So it's a 4 versus 4. Still alive here for the Knights. Not over yet, but another big nitro from Hoven.
and Ape's lurking up above, still has control. There's someone to expose this position, so I think the Knights have a read. Takes a bit of damage. Still make a play. No one's looking. No one is looking at Ape. He's going to be on for a kill. That's the diffuser. That's the second. Could be a third, but he drops off. That's smart. And this should be GG.
GG. Gaming Gladiators, 2 points. What a turnaround from 6-3 down. But not over yet with Speakeasy, who's on a bit of a heater at 15-8-7. Desperately need to find the next kill and do so quickly. Josh will do so. Shoots Joe in the top of his head. 3 versus 2 and suddenly winnable with 30 seconds remaining. Two on site that can trade each other. The drop down, it's got to be perfect. They have to be clean. They have to find a kill straight away. No one pushes out. No information being given by the Gladiators. Speakeasy has to plant. Josh has to hold. He has to cover. They will not allow this to go down too easily. Josh does cover. One, but he couldn't get the second. The Gladiators win. They hold out and they get the 2 points. And second place with 2 Playdays to go. The Gladiators fighting tooth and nail.
A hard-fought game, but ultimately the shutout in OT. Really well done by the Gaming Gladiators. A couple of key players, Arpe and Rix, really stepping up in this match when needed. Echoing the result from the second stage, GG just edge out, now in prime position for the major.
It's happened again. History has repeated itself, unfortunately, for Knights fans, but fortunately for Gladiator fans. They walk away with 2 very valuable points. They go to 8 points now, firmly in second place with 2 Playdays to go, and more importantly, those 2 Playdays that they will be playing in. They play tight next week. A win there could firmly put them in such a strong position to go to the major. Commiserations to the Knights. What a banger these 2 teams always put on. For now, though, we go back to the desk.